Together we will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. We're going to win, win, win.
You don't have to look very far to find Donald Trump ahead nationally.
We have 50 million ballots already been cast.
Trump Force 47 volunteers who have been establishing relationships with these new voters.
We get out those low propensity voters.
And I'm increasingly suspicious that the Trump campaign has a secret plan to turn people out.
The most unified, most organized effort on the right that has ever existed to mobilize and get out the vote.
For the past 9 years, we have been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces on earth.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
With your vote in this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. It belongs to you.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
President Trump has expanded the party. A ton of people have joined the party in the last 4 years expressly to vote for him.
Democratic wedding will reach epic
The
proportions.
Republicans are kicking our ass at the early voting.
And we're going to keep turning out our voters all the way until the polls close.
Remember, Kamala and Sleepy Joe, they broke it. I will fix it, and we'll fix it fast.
There you go, brother. That is the latest Trump ad. The latest Trump ad. Good morning. When we show this, it's Monday morning, the day before the election. So, good morning.
Namaste.
Yes. For us, actually, it's Saturday evening, rather late. But
You don't have to tell them that.
no, I mean, you never know what's going to happen in the election cycle. It's now for us. It's 3 days before it happens, but our information is as relevant now as it is for you on Monday. So the day before.
Nothing's going to change. Go ahead. Let's go.
All right. So we do have, brother. I don't know if you're aware. We do have a website.
I did not know that.
Here's our website. You can see we have a whole bunch of beatingthematrix.com. I'll put that on the bottom. We do have several bits of merchandise here, brother. One of them being I Am the Anomaly. One of them being the shirt that I am wearing right now, which is Welcome to Adolf Biden's Banana Republic. We have Cuckoo Kamala. Get it while you can. Free Trump. And then we have, of course, I prefer dangerous liberty to peaceful slavery. You can all get these at TeePublic. And if you're really lost, you can always go to our website and, of course, click over here on the right. It will take you to the page. And so you can feel free to buy as many as you want. And we encourage that because it always helps us. So, brother, that's what we have. We also have a new article, A Vote to Save Your Country. And just very briefly,
This is an official endorsement then from Beating the Matrix?
Yes. We have actually, there's going to be an article that's coming out too within the next, tomorrow, Sunday, which is Monday. There'll be another one, which I do want to talk about. But it's not up yet. But the reason why you should vote Republican is because one of the things to keep in mind is Trump has only won election, and then John's going to talk about the House and Senate seats that, is the reason why they did Russia is because they could get away with it because the Democrats had the House and the Senate. They had the House they could run there, or not the Senate. They had the House they could run the tables on Trump, and they did. They impeached him twice, and they used their position to go after him. But my point is, you're going to run into Republicans. The quote is, there's only one person you're going to agree with 100%, Jesus Christ, but you're not going to get Jesus Christ in any election. So, for example, we have a Republican running here in New Jersey, he is not your typical Republican in many ways, but you're more likely to get into to persuade him to your point of view, your ideological point of view, than you would a Democrat, because a Democrat doesn't care to have you in. You're not part of their real constituency. Really, their constituency is the person who's voting for them. That's the way it's been. That's the way it's turned into.
Big
That's all it's been.
corporations, big
Yeah.
money, big
Yeah,
big government, big union.
exactly.
Never the teacher, never the cop, never the guy.
Never the you and me. Never the you
Never
and
the
me. It's
union
always them.
worker. It's always the
Yeah.
union worker boss, right?
Yeah. And so the point is, I can put together a petition and bring 1,000 Republicans who won't vote for you in the next election. So you want to talk to people who do this. And so they don't care if you're a Democrat in office, they don't care if you get 1,000 Republicans to listen to you. They're going to say, well, it must not be that big of an issue to Republicans, right? Because if it was a Democrat, you'd get more people being against it. My point comes down to the same thing. You vote Republican, you make sure you get the person in office, and then you get them to bend the way you want, to do what you want. It comes down to that very simply. Stop your complaining. You had your ego is in charge of you when you're refusing to vote for the Republican, and you're a Republican and you want to save our country. You do the talking of you got to be supporting Trump, or you got to be supporting the America First. If you're not doing those, then we can't vote for you as a Republican. Okay, well, you're guaranteeing that the Democrat's going to win. We have a guy here in New Jersey, Mike Crispy, who I originally called Chris Crispy. I didn't even know his name, but apparently he's Trump's pick, and he's running around talking about how you have to be ideologically pure, and maybe he's changed his tune recently. I don't know, but you can't be ideologically pure. If you want to be that's how you lose elections. You have to get people in. You want to be ideologically pure? I'm all for it. Do it during the primary. Get the guy elected that you want in the primary. But when you lose, like I did, you have to learn to support the guy who beats you.
So as Reagan said, if you're 70% for us, 70% for us, you're not against us. So
right.
You're for us.
Exactly.
Right. If you're 60%,
and that's what it comes down to.
If you're 51%, you're still for us. Right.
All
right.
You're
so
more like.
What's the next?
So that's the point of that.
All right. So what's your are you doing?
That's one article. So the other article is I'm also very much for us holding our Trump's moral character in play. Right? Here we go, Johnny. Ready? We always, the Democrats are always saying, I don't like him because of his moral character. I don't like him because these Democrats are all over his moral character, right? I know people who just don't like what he says. It's so mean. So
that's actually the talking point that a lot of the rhinos and the never Trumpers are using right now at this moment, literally on the radio as I was driving here. It's all about character. First, we have to get our character straight, and then then that's why I can't vote for Donald Trump, because he's got such a loud character. But just proving the fact that the billions of dollars, as you point out, of fake media that they spent the last 9 years of this poor guy's life toxically destroying him with these evil female character assassination has worked. But there's a couple of these deeper issues in there about that. But that's the talking point, is character. So go ahead, hit us with the character, and then I'll make
here's the four things that you, as president, that you can vehemently think of terrible moral character, and and why you should think of Trump's moral character. Because I agree, we shouldn't have a president that's mean, who would want someone in office who would have his daughter arrange extramarital trysts with women. You don't want someone who brings out their male genitalia for for people to see in the bathroom, or talk to the cabinet meetings while they're on the throne, and talking about the impressive size of their male genitalia, right? And you don't want somebody who's deflowering young interns and having long-term, long-standing trysts with famous celebrity and multitudes of other women, as well as, the having sexual trysts with interns and the liberal use of a cigar during it. So if you're all for moral character, then the things I just mentioned are the four major Democrat presidents of the 20th century. And here they are. You ready, John? You ready for this? I mean, you probably know who I'm talking about. But FDR's daughter, Anna, helped to arrange him getting with Lucy Mercer for his years in the White House. LBJ is famous for whipping it out, turning around and showing his male genitalia to staffers as they walk in to the bathroom, and showing his quote unquote impressive size, as the reporter said, and also spending hours on the phone during a cabinet meeting as he was on the throne, right? And of course, let's not forget about the JFK's deflowering of Mimi Alford, the Virgin staffer who was working at the White House press room.
Is Bill getting in on this?
and the multitude of women that JFK has been rumored to have extramarital trysts with.
What about
and
Bill?
Of course, let's not forget Bill Clinton, and his tryst with Monica Lewinsky, and the liberal use of the cigar.
Well, James, I get it. So is that your character? Is that your
but
character?
No, the point comes down to they're all for moral character, and except for when it's actually for one of their candidates, right? I mean, that's when it gets into they're all for it's all moral. It's just a smokescreen. It's just bull donkey. It's another form of lying to us about their position. So that's what I have to say, brother. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
Well, I'm going to push. We got to push back a little bit on the Bill Clinton thing, is because we didn't know.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That's
what
true.
he was dealing with. I mean, we got to cut him some slack in the sense that
we do have to cut him slack. You're right about that.
He had a demon in the White House. Stalking him. So God knows what.
In all fairness,
to poor Bill. So I mean, he had problems. So, but you're absolutely right.
The message of go ahead.
You're absolutely right on this idea of character, but don't say, well, that's just whataboutism. You can't buy into it by putting this reprobate Trump up. All right. First of all, I've noticed two things about this. First of all, this so-called character issue, like you said, you really nailed it. It's a smokescreen, right? These people that are saying this, these are often men with daddy issues. Like when Andrew Klaver first came out, it was all anti-Trump and stuff. It's because he has these daddy issues, right? And the other thing is, some men just can't deal with alpha males. Like I do it because it's in my profession, right? Yeah. And we're just unique that way. I guess we just deal well with because of or maybe who our father was, just not a better ballistic physicist than him. So maybe we accept a certain amount of it and just know how to navigate it. But a lot of men, it's like, because they're like women, they're just like, I can't deal with the strong man, and they see Trump and they can't deal with it. And so there's definitely a lack of manness and manliness in a lot of like, it doesn't happen to Gorka.
They're betas, John.
Gorka doesn't have a problem with it. So there's definitely a lot of that. And then there's the daddy issues too. It's like, they don't know how to handle men because of that. But for the character, I'm listening to this moron going, and Kamala is somehow some kind of virtuous woman?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, not the fact that she got where she was, literally by sleeping with Willie Brown, and she was so despicable that when Willie Brown won that election for the mayor of Los Angeles, she showed up at the inauguration, and where his wife was to hold the Bible, she showed up and horned in. Right? Talk about a creep. Now I'll say that was when she was a young woman sleeping her way to the top. Okay, fine. Let's go when she's an adult now. When she's vice president. We'll skip over the fact that married to the second gentleman or whatever his name is, that knucklehead, right? What about the fact for the last 3 years she did nothing but cover up the fact that there's a sock puppet on the U.S. presidency who clearly has dementia. He's running around sniffing we should have done the Halloween special about how all the women, all the little girls that have been escaping his clutches over this last Halloween party. There's like 3 or 4 of them. These little girls running like it's a horror movie away from the creeper. Well, the creeper, right? It's like a freaking horror movie. What about covering that up? What about the coup? Nobody asked about this. So wait a minute. How did good old Joe finally stepped down? Well, Kamala, did you call him up and did you say you were going to 25th Amendment him? What happened with that?
No.
And if that happened, what about stealing the powers of the internet to say that, oh yeah, by the way, Joe supports me, and thereby committing a coup on the Obama faction? What about that character? What about this? And even say none of that happened. How about this? How about the 2 things? The number one, the constant lying about your opponent, right? This perennial lie of Charlottesville, right? That Donald Trump said that the both people on good sides, meaning that they lie and say that it was the Nazis, when he clearly not even out of the same breath said, I'm not talking about the Nazis and the white supremacists. They should be condemned. He literally says that, right? But that lie, Biden gets away with, she picks up and puts it forward again and again. And the other lie, the bloodbath, a lie. So you lose. So she's a prosecutor. She's probably a lie. The only job she ever did was for like 3 years or whatever, as a prosecutor. So in court, I would point out to the jury, say, listen, the great Judge Gray used to say to me, say this. He says, listen, everybody walks in the courtroom with a cup of credibility, right? And what happens is every lie or everything that you say is wrong, a little bit of that fluid pulls out, a little bit of the water pulls out, right? The credibility pulls out, right? The thing is, it never goes back, right? It never goes back. So she tells these lie after lie, and then of course the bloodbath lie, and of course the latest one that we're going to get into, he's going to shoot he's going to shoot Liz Cheney in the face. Or how about just a plagiarism? Or the biggest lie is, he's against he's going to raise your taxes. No. Kamala, if we had a functioning media, they would say, well, wait a minute, all the Trump taxes for across the board, everybody got tax cuts from the top to the bottom. They're all going to expire next year. Kamala, are you going to keep them up? Because if Trump gets in, he's going to keep his tax cuts. If she wins, obviously she's going to raise the taxes on everybody, because all you got to do is let it expire. Lie after lie after lie. You don't win campaigns by lying like that. You shouldn't win campaigns by lying like that. Only because of the fake media does she get away with it. But let's talk about the character. How about the complete fakeness of Kamala? First she's Indian when she's an Asian when she's running for the Senate, and now she's black. And as we pointed out, she might be at most talking to her father, who she's estranged. Nobody's investigated.
Do you even know if she's a woman?
Nobody. Right. Well, nobody asked her that question. Are you a woman?
Yeah.
Because she couldn't answer it. Right? She wouldn't answer it because she's dedicated. Because she's dedicated to another church, the church of the evil one, right? And what about that? What about her father? Nobody investigates. Nobody's asked her father, because her father's going to tell her, listen, my grandmother was Indian. She wasn't black. We owned slaves in Jamaica, and he's a Marxist, so we can at least trust what he says on that. And why doesn't anybody ask him any questions on it? At most, she's 6%, maybe 3%, or 0%. Black. And this is the thing, just like Elizabeth Warren, right? That fake and fraud Pocahontas running around there, who took a spot as a professor at Harvard, right? For 20 years. Somewhere out there's a black woman who could have been in that spot, who should have been in that spot, who didn't get that spot because that fraud told a lie that she's Indian, so she could get a job with big money and be famous and become a senator. That's exactly what Kamala has done, and to be his president. Talk about character. What about the lack of character? How come they don't see any of that character? Because, like you said, It's a smokescreen for the Trump derangement syndrome that they're going to. There's something mentally wrong with these people. Now, a lot of people who are voting for Kamala, I'm not like freaking Joe Biden, dirtbag pedophile Joe Biden. I'm not like that. In the sense that I'm going to badmouth all those people. Most of those people don't know what they're doing. They're low information, as Rush used to call them, low information voters, and they're just going with the nonsense the press has said. But a lot of them are triggered psychologically, and they're triggered psychologically because they got deep personal problems. They should not be voting. They should be going to a therapist for, right? They should pull, here they are, potentially driving cars, heavy equipment, and all the rest of it. They really need a psychologist. For anybody voting for Trump, for Kamala, is really got to be looking at themselves in the mirror, going, "What's wrong with me?"
Right. And I forgot to add.
Character.
I forgot to add. There's also the I didn't mention, but will be in the article about the president who went after his opponents using the IRS to attack them, and failed missteps of
Mr. himself, Mr. Hate American himself,
Obama. and alleged tryst with men and cocaine. His alleged tryst with men and cocaine. So, I mean, there's that too.
Now let's talk about the character of our sweet Donald Trump, Saint Trump. Now listen, he grew up. They say, "Oh, how can you be Christian and for him?" First of all, listen. He grew up in the culture that he did. It was the Playboy culture. Okay, it's not. I mean, I wish we. I guess America. You have to have freedom is America's thing, right? It just is. And so a lot of people are going to give freedom a bad name. And obviously in the 60s and 70s in the Playboy culture, Hugh Hefner was this dirtbag, and he has given freedom a bad name. So you can say to all our brothers and sisters, listen, don't be the one giving freedom a bad name. Like Hugh Hefner, he was a dirtbag, right? So he grew up in the Playboy culture. But even though he grew up in the Playboy culture, he still managed to boot the crap out of Epstein when Epstein was down at Mar-a-Lago pulling his crap. He booted him from that. He still managed not to be to be manipulated or subverted by Epstein. And the one picture they do have with Epstein, and Trump in the same picture. Yes, he's there, and Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's pimpette, whatever you want to call it, is there. And then there's Trump, and then there's a really young girl too, except it's Melania, and he marries her, right? He marries her. And that's the other point. So yes, he did grow up in that culture. Yes, he did. He got divorced 3 times. But if you asked him, I think he would have preferred just to stay married to the same woman. He doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, and as much as he seems like he's from that culture, yeah, he's got a thing for pretty women. Oh well, rich men often get snagged by pretty women. It's one of those things. It's time since some time immemorial. So we're going to blame him for being successful and for having that happen. For his culture, let me finish. For his culture, for the one thing that you can say about him, he says again, he has the greatest line ever. All my ex-wives love me. I take care of them. Which he's got a point. And the telling note is this: look at his kids versus Joe Biden's kids. Look at Eric Trump, and Ivanka versus Hunter Biden, right? Obviously, he was molested as a child. Obviously, he had all kinds of sex problems that are translated as to turn him into the complete rapist dirtbag that he is. And by the way, he is a rapist because when you drug a woman, whether she's a prostitute or not, and you have sex with her, well, that's called rape, and you should be in jail for that. So look at. So if you're going for character, look what's in the pudding. Look what's in the pudding, as Bill Cosby would say. Look what's in the pudding. It's a sad day. But so talking about character, who wins on the character? Donald J. Trump wins on the character war.
And it's also telling that 9 years ago, he was fed it by all these people to be on their shows.
Why? Tell us why.
He was on, encouraged by people like Oprah to run for president.
Why? What did he do? Tell us.
Because of his character when he saw people like Jesse Jackson who needed a leg up, he gave people a leg up.
He was the finance behind Jesse Jackson. And Jesse Jackson should have been the first black president, or at least the first black vice president. He was screwed by the Democrat Party.
And even if you look at him in his presidency, the people who are attacking him now, these people's career, the Republicans that he lifted these Republicans out of obscurity, people who had dead careers. Bolton had a dead career. His career was dead, and Trump
it should have been dead. That was one of his mistakes.
It should have been dead. No, you're right. No, you're right. But John, as he said in his multiple, he brought Bolton along because they knew he was serious that he'd go to war. He uses him as a tool. But there's other ones. Kelly, another one whose career was dead, and Trump lifted him out. What's the response from these people? They stab him in the back every chance they can, and as he said in one of his interviews, what do I do when I want to let somebody go? In the show, I'd say I could do it meanly. I could say you're fired, right? Or I could say I want a letter, which means you're quitting, which means you're not getting fired, which means you can walk away from the job with dignity. Now, he goes, that was my mistake. I should have just fired those people so that everyone would have known that they were fired instead of being let go and them leaving on their own terms. That's what he should have done. And he, because why did he do that? Because he's a nice guy.
He's a sweetheart. That's the thing about him. I don't get this. He's giving us on the stage exactly who he is. There's no artifice to this guy. He is an out-and-out sweetheart, and he loves people. And it shows wherever he goes, to the garbage, they put on the McDonald's. Wherever he goes, he loves people. Which makes him different from Kamala. He actually likes people, and he's likable, right? But that's enough for the character. We're never.
Yeah, you want to do the big lie, brother? You want to move on?
I was actually going to end it with the big lie, but because you wanted to do the election, so we have to do the election. So why don't you do because you got the real politics and stuff, where it stands now, and this is the election issue, the election show predictions.
Right,
did you endorse anybody yet? You haven't picked us who you endorsed.
We're endorsing Beating the Matrix officially endorses President Donald J. Trump
for another 4
years, based on his character and his incredible ability to solve and fix problems and to turn us around and save us from destruction. All right, so I wanted to start off by talking more about the billion-dollar-a-day industry that we're actually fighting, John. You'll note on the screen now you have a CNN headline. This was on the main page, but has since changed. This is the main page. They took it down. They changed it. But this was this is their lead article. Trump no longer leads in the state he carried twice, according to new Iowa poll. So, John, I decided to do some actual journalism, and I went and checked out Real Clear Politics. And you can see, brother, if you look at the screen, here is the Iowa. It's not a contested race, so there's not a lot of polls. There's two.
He's going to win by 10 or 20%.
Yeah, and to be clear, he won by 9% in 2020. And the poll that they're looking at, where they're saying, first of all, it's one poll, not two, but there were two recent polls. And if you look at this one, the Des Moines Register, it has Harris by 3. But you got to look at the details. You always got to look at the details, because they're saying with Kennedy running and Chase and having two other people in the race, the race splits out to putting Harris in the lead. But when it's just Trump versus Harris, Trump crushes her by 9 points, brother. 9 full points. He crushes her. It's just another example. What's that?
What do you call that? Fake news.
Fake news. Call that fake news. It's
election manipulation.
Election interference, billion-dollar-a-day industry. I forgot to do the endorsements, too. I forgot the other endorsement that we have to talk about. I jumped right into that. But there's another endorsement that we forgot to talk about, brother. You didn't let me. You let me go on before I talked about this endorsement. Where is it? No.
Well, I got.
Here it is.
Okay.
Here it is. Nope, I got the endorsement. Here's our breaking news, which of endorsements.
Claims his preferred candidate was Joe Biden, but
Here.
Vladimir Putin responded to a U.S. crackdown on alleged Russian election interference with more election interference. The Russian president claims his preferred candidate was Joe Biden, but
he was removed from the race, and he recommended all his supporters to endorse Ms. Harris. Well, that is what we will do too. We will support her. And also, she laughs so expressively and infectiously that it means she's doing well.
Putin's comment drew a sharp rebuke from the White House.
Mr. Putin ought to stop talking about our elections, period. We would greatly appreciate it if Mr. Putin would A, stop talking about our election, and B, stop interfering in it.
Former President Donald Trump also quickly jumped in, posting on Truth Social, quote, President Putin would much rather see comrade Kamala Harris in office, as he strongly said.
So we have Putin weighing in, brother.
Well, what part of that is that all true? I can't believe that's all true. Is that all true?
It's all true.
Oh,
that's
man,
CNN reporting, John.
Well,
that's CNN. Of course, it's true.
Definitely Trump's point.
CNN.
Definitely Trump's point that Comrade Kamala would be favored by Comrade Putin, right? Yeah, that's definitely a point. And yeah, definitely. That's definitely. So you wanted me to do the numbers?
Well, I do have. Yeah. You could do the numbers, but I just want to make the point that that's CNN making that report, but there's the backstory of that. Why? The reason why it's so true is because Putin said they don't. The reason why they don't like Trump is because, according to Putin and CNN's reporting of it, is because Trump, when he came into office, he was a lot harsher towards them than Biden was, and then this anti-Russia phobia that is there. They think this is going to go on whether there's Trump or whether there's Biden. I don't agree, but
the number one reason is Trump says it himself is the money. Right when Trump came in the first day, he dropped all drill baby, and the energy prices went down. America becomes the dominant world. Energy independent. Now we're importing all the crude stuff, but it was on its way to become energy dominant. What does that mean? Well, that means that the crappy, dirty energy places like Venezuela, Iran, and Russia, nobody wants their oil because they can get it from America, what's nice and clean. And so with when we put all our oil in there,
drops.
The price of oil drops the barrel down, and then the Russians, the Iranians, and the Venezuelans can't get in any trouble because they don't have any money to buy missiles to kill the Jews with, right? So of course Russia wants Kamala in there because she'll do more of this Green Deal nonsense, more tie down American energy, tie down and constrain America so that we all pay the money in the gas pumps and that and our fuel bills, and we all freeze and we don't have our economy sucks. So of course, for economic reasons, the number one economic reasons, Russia only really produces oil. And so Kamala's in there. It means it's more money coming into his coffers. It means he can continue to pursue the war in Europe. In Ukraine, he has the money. He has the money to fund it. Just like the Iranians will have money to kill the Jews. Just like Ayatollah, I'm sure, is all for Kamala, and just like he was all for Obama because he's stupid.
Also one of the things that is highly underreported, but the Russian foreign minister has most recently stated, and it's been reported in the Turkish Daily News, that there's going to be that Russia is close to direct military conflict because of Joe Biden's actions. That's with us. They're close to direct military conflict with us over what's going on. Not surprising because Biden's given the green light for attacks on the interior of Russia, which we can talk about, but being for or against. But the point is, Biden's not in charge of this situation. it's getting rapidly out of control, and it's getting to a point where if you don't have some adult come in and stop this, it will go into complete overdrive and could blow up easily into a full-blown inner conflict between us and Russia and China and Iran and our allies who would be willing to join in. It could very quickly turn into a World War III shooting match, bigger than the Cold War, World War III that we have going on right now. The phony war, I think, is what Churchill would have called it, the phony war, where before the shooting actually starts. That's where we're at right now, and we're just before it turns hot. But the foreign minister of Russia has basically said it's coming if something doesn't change.
All right,
and it's not changing with Biden.
So yeah,
right?
So I'm going to do the numbers then. Okay, you ready?
All right, do the numbers.
So basically, for the presidential election, there's a solid, for Trump, 219, a solid 219. He only really needs 51 points, and so if anybody was looking at this objectively, you would say, oh, okay, it's really Trump's to win and the Democrats to lose, because they have to win the blue wall. The traditional Democrats, a place that Trump has took away from them back in 2016, and they have to win the southern battleground states too. So it's really Trump has got the shortest path to victory and the easiest path to victory. And so at 219, if he gets 219, which is solid, he only needs 51 points.
Does this work for you, brother?
Yeah, the shortest version, the shortest path to his victory is simply PA, North Carolina, and Georgia. He wins those three, and it's over, right? He gets a solid
PA, North Carolina, Georgia.
And that's it. It's over. That's the shortest path to victory for anybody, for either side. Now, so if not that though, there are 12 areas. So there's the seven battleground states they call, and then there's the expanded 12 that are kind of like in play, right? So there's the 12 areas that are in play. And typically he wasn't expected to pick up any of these, but so there's a second tier battleground, right? And so it's like the further away, and then there's the 7 that are the battleground states: Wisconsin, Michigan, PA, the Rust Belt, and then the Sun Belt, North Carolina and Georgia, and then on the east, and the Sun Belt on the west, Nevada and Arizona. Now each of those two groups is a little bit different, but when I break down the numbers on them a little bit, you can get away the way the country's going just by that. But then before I get to that, though, there's the 4th second tier states: New Mexico, it's New Mexico, Minnesota, New Hampshire, which you wanted to talk about, Maine, and Virginia, right? And so this is the expanded map. This is about 12 states, right? And so right now, of that second tier states, he might be able to pick up an actual 18. New Mexico and Virginia. He's actually today on Saturday in Virginia doing a rally with the governor and lieutenant governor, like Youngkin. And there's a chance he can. Now the evil deep state, of course, mostly based in Virginia, and so that's what flipped Virginia from being a solid, Southern Republican state to a Democrat state. But even they are probably looking around like, oh yeah, man, this nitwit Kamala is almost and Joe Biden almost got us into World War III. Maybe we let Trump win. so there's a chance that he can actually win Virginia. Remember, Virginia went for Glenn Youngkin on an off year as a Republican governor because of the trans issue and the parents issue, and that's still in play. So there's a chance.
He's had 3 years, John. He's had 3 years to prove Republican values.
So there's a chance that the Virginia is in play. New Mexico's already won for Donald Trump. Just look at the number of people that have come in for voting. And it's all from the rural counties. The rural county, they have early voting, and it's already all voted, and it's all Republican. Outstanding. How amazingly outstanding.
That's the Second Amendment issue that the crazy governor down there has.
It's amazing.
Has Second Amendment.
Amazing. That and part of it too is the Sun Belt. They're part of the Sun Belt on the east, and that's the Arizona and Nevada,
Illegal,
which I'm going to get to in a second. Right.
Illegal immigration.
I'm going to get to that in a second. So of the 4th tier states, he might be able to pick up 18 points, and 18 points is almost Pennsylvania. He might pick them up just in the second tier battleground states. Now, for the battleground states, like I said, there's the blue wall of say Minnesota, which is part of that, but because Waltz is from Tampon Tim is from Minnesota, let's give them that. That's 10 points for that, right? So then there's that blue wall. They call it blue wall because they're all together. Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, and then Pennsylvania. Now, and to a large extent, Iowa and Ohio were part of that, and that's why the battle for the country was always on Ohio and Iowa, because which way they went would be the determining factors in the elections at the beginning of the century. But now it's shifted into the blue wall, and the reason why is because that's where you get a lot of the old white union working class voters, right? That's the auto industry to the steel industry, right? And then they've been suffering. Nobody's taken more of a hit from the Barack Obama, George Bush bullshit, Wall Street Journal, sell out America, elites than these guys, right? Nobody's taking a bigger hit. Now, Biden won them barely, saying that we're going to ignore for the fact that there was of all the shenanigans. Barely won them because he, as I said when he was running in 2020, he is the last vestige of the Democrat Party, because he's the last one. Joe Biden, Scranton Joe takes the train every day, never made any money in Congress. Well, when he was vice president, he made lots of money, but never made any money when he was a senator, right? Because he's too busy, sleeping, taking showers with his daughter. Waves his rosary around to everybody, right? Went to regular schools, didn't go to Harvard, Yale. So he really was the face of the old Democrat Party. So of all those people running, including Kamala, he was the only one that could have won that election, because he was the only one like that. What are you going to do? Give it to Butt Boy? Or Amy Klobuchar, so unappealing. Nobody really had that. He really was the face of that. So he was able to at least take that back from Trump, who took it from Hillary Clinton, because that's what, if you give her any credit, she was glomming on to Bill Clinton's, white, middle class, working class, type of Democratic Party. So that's the blue wall. And of that, he's up 2 points in Pennsylvania. He's even and slightly ahead, like 0.4, 0.7 on points in Michigan and Wisconsin.
I got it right here.
Right. There you go. So he's up in those three states. We know he's going to win Pennsylvania, and I say he's going to win Pennsylvania for a good reason. Back in 2016, when he was running, we had this dirtbag named Toomey, this fake Republican, this rhino Republican, this ass, who was club of this he's Mr. Wall Street Journal,
Club for Growth.
Club for Growth, nonsense. Fiscal conservative bullcrap. I'm Republican bullcrap. He sold out the gun, the Second Amendment as fast as he could. He was a total creep, a total liar. Well, anyway, when I was on doing my election poll thing that I was doing, he had, on the western part of the state, he was with Trump. On the Ohio side of the state, right? On the eastern part, on my end of Pennsylvania, he was out there bad mouthing Trump, right? And so he suppressed the pro-Trump vote in 2016, about 100,000 votes. So he wins by 200,000, and Trump only wins in Pennsylvania by 100,000. A lot because of all his ads targeting Trump and doing Democrat work on the eastern part. So Trump only won by 100,000 when he should have won by 200,000. Anyway, it's completely reversed. Now you have Bob Casey, son of Governor Casey, who's doing the exact opposite now, running as a Democrat on the eastern part of the state, where he should be embracing Kamala and all the commie mommies in the suburbs. He's distancing himself, says, "Oh yeah, I'm the guy who voted with Trump," right? So that tells me the internal polls show that good old Bob Casey on the eastern part of the state is so far down that he is embracing the Trump for the pro-Trump votes to try and squeak by. And of course, on the western part of the state, the game is already over. Trump has won the western part of the state. It's the eastern part now, and that means he's targeting, because this is about media buys now, because I see this on media TV, coming up here. That means he's targeting the Philadelphia suburban votes that are voting pro-Trump this election. So the middle class and the black people that have had it, that maybe up to 25%. So if Trump, I think, went up to, he doubled it, the black vote from like 3% to like 8%, and he could potentially get 20% or 25% of the black vote this time, right? And so even though that's all in the cities and in Upper Darby in those areas, and Drexel Hill, Delaware County, in those areas, those areas, even though he's not going to win these areas, there's so many people in these areas, 1 or 2 points of that, and that's the election, right? So so Bob Casey is targeting them. So I think he's going to win Pennsylvania. Then remember, the shortest path to victory for him is Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. It looked like North Carolina was solidly was been Republican solidly. Went for Trump both times, although it was close the last time. It looked like when Mark Robinson, the guy who's running for governor, had a fake a scandal. Oh, look, he said something on a porn site about something like really, who cares? He would think that the Democrats would be for him because he was on a porn site. Oh no, because they're all frauds anyway. But he looked like that Trump was vulnerable down there, and the Republicans were vulnerable down there because of his candidacy. I think he's great. I think Mark Robinson is a superstar. I think he's.
But John, you also had a major hurricane that then turned into the Biden completely didn't handle well and just plays into the narrative.
Right. And
the idea, hate red state America.
And the idea, well, they were going to do it. The idea is that because they were, the western part of the state was wiped out, that they weren't going to be able to vote. But they've come out in droves. And just this week, Kamala's pulled all the ads from North Carolina. And that tells me the internal polls show he's going to win North Carolina. Georgia, he's up 2 points already.
John, if I could also just make a comment about that. When you see them do that, just keep in mind, she has Trump beat money-wise 3-1 almost. She's got money to burn. They have so much money that in Las Vegas, they bought the dome for a Harris ad, the entire dome. They bought a dome for it. That's a huge chunk of money. They got money to burn, and if she's pulling it out of North Carolina, that's doubly telling in the current environment. She thinks there's no hope for her in North Carolina.
Right. So so I'm giving him North Carolina. And then remember, the shortest path is all he needs is Georgia. Georgia's got 16, right? So say he doesn't win Georgia, right? Now he's up like 2 points in Georgia. And I'll tell you the reason why I think is because of the black vote again. Remember, Trump won 3%, then like 8%, and he could win 20 to 25%, because the one thing black men don't want is to be lectured to by another not virtuous female. Okay, they don't want to be. Why does anybody want that?
Or by a guy who runs around pretending he was a great president.
Right. Mr. Richie Rich Pants, who's never been in the ghetto, who went to all private schools his entire life,
multi-million-dollar homes,
right,
around
with
the country.
multi-million homes, and of course, the greatest sin. I don't know what his greatest sin is. Is it the greatest sin? Pretending to be male and marrying Big Mike? Is his greatest sin bad mouthing America and destroying America? Or is his greatest sin is probably this: destroying a national icon and something that should be on the international registry of protected sites, like the Vatican and
Robert Masters' home. Robert Masters' home.
Right, for Magnum, right.
Magnum PI, yeah.
Right. He destroyed that. He's destroying it because he bought it and make it, right?
He's out. He's out. I don't care what his presidency was like. He's out.
That should send him straight to hell.
How dare you attack
forever.
Magnum? Go to
hell, ass. Right?
Yeah. That was it. That was it.
Right. So, but back to the numbers. So anyway, so the shortest path: Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and then Georgia. So Georgia he's up like 2 points into 4 points depending on what poll, right? So Georgia looks like it's going to be. Let's give the devil his due. Let's say, well, you have those two. He lost Georgia. Can he make up those 16 points? Well, now if you go look at where he is in North Carolina, on the southern western Sun Belt, right now we're talking Arizona and Nevada, right? All right, now Arizona and Nevada have consistently polled 7 to 4 points ahead for Donald Trump. That's amazing. He's 4 points up now, and Kari Lake is ahead in running for governor in Arizona. Nevada looks like, again, all of the Republican voting is already been voted. It's already come in. He's going to win Nevada, probably because he came out early before Miss Plagiarism could commit plagiarism and steal his idea, try and steal his idea. He was going to have all the waitresses not have to pay taxes, because that's bullcrap anyway. Their job is hard enough; they shouldn't have to pay taxes or calculate taxes. They're stealing their tips as it is. They're stealing the tips. The people who own those venues are stealing their tips to begin with. They should be able to make their money and not have to pay another thief, the U.S. government, for that. So Trump comes out and says that he was ahead to win the Nevada from the beginning of the campaign almost, when he said that. So he's ahead in Nevada. And Arizona too, and there's another reason why he's ahead in Arizona and Nevada, and I believe in New Mexico too, and that's like you said, the illegal immigrant vote. So the difference is he's up maybe a point or two up in the northern Rust Belt, but the reason why it doesn't translate to the south is because those states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, they're all white. There's a black section, there's a big, Hispanic section, but still, basically, they're all white. Now, down south in the southern belt, in Arizona and Mexico, and Nevada, Las Vegas, those states have a huge Hispanic vote, right? And nobody's hurt more by illegal immigration than the Hispanic population. Why? Well, because they paid $10,000 to come here or whatever, spent 10 years to come here. And now all this the crap that, and are just entering the American economy. And so the jobs that they have, which are marginal jobs to begin with, are now being undercut by illegal immigrants coming in and getting paid lesser and lower wages. So that's why he's always been up 4 to 7% in those states. And so you got to give him Arizona and Nevada. He's going to win those states, and then that's it. Now Trump is going to win a solid win of 302 to 316, right? But he could take a big win, a landslide win of 326, because he could run the Rust. So he could win Michigan and Wisconsin. He could win them or lose them. It doesn't really matter. But those are 20 points right there that he could win, or maybe 10 points. Give him one out of the two, right? He's going to win Pennsylvania. He's got a shot at Virginia and New Hampshire. New Mexico. He's going to win those. He's probably going to win those ones. He's definitely going to win Arizona and Nevada. He could win a solid 326 or even more, because there is some rumbling that in New York and in New Jersey, it's the thing about New Jersey. New York used to have Republican governors, right? And there's no state more hurt than New York by the illegal alien, thanks to the brilliant move that the governor of Texas did. I don't like to give any credit to Rhonda, because he's just following on to that one, by sending all the illegals up there to New York City. And so there's a chance that New York City, his home state, might actually flip. And New Jersey can always go that way. New Jersey voted for Chris Christie, for God's sake. On the statewide level, it's 1/3 Republican, 1/3 Democrat, and 1/3 independent. And that 1/3 independent are really just Republicans who don't want to get called racist, right? So it might be that they've had it, and he might be able to pick up those two states. So let's look it up nationally. There's going to be a landslide or a solid win for one Donald J. Trump, as it should be, because what nut would vote for that freaking Kamala? I'm ready to move on to the Senate and the House if you want. You said it's all going to come down. You had a theory it's all going to come down to New Hampshire. So if you want
let me throw let me explain what that means. When I say it all comes down to New Hampshire, what I'm saying is you can predict the night how it's going to break, how things are going to break by the results that come out of New Hampshire. And here's why, doing a historical analysis. If you look at 2020, right, you can see in 2020 that Biden won the state. It was 424,000 to 365,000. So that's the breakdown of numbers. In numbers, and we know New Hampshire is going to be settled early, one way or the other. New Hampshire is going to be settled early in the night.
New Hampshire is one of the ones that is in second tier play.
Right.
It is definitely one of the ones.
Whether even if Harris wins, which she likely, it's more than likely than not that she's going to take it, right? But even if she wins, you got to look at the numbers.
Well, let me give you this. Biden won it by 7%, but Hillary only by 0.37. Again, we're talking. This is the thing. Biden was a legitimate candidate for the Democratic Party. This is the white middle class male, male vote. That Biden got 7% of, and Hillary only got 0.37. She barely won New Hampshire. That's why it is definitely a good point that you bring up, and why it is in play. I put it in the second tier, and I didn't mention it, but that's another four that he could pick up.
But whether he wins it or not, if you see it break like it did in 2016, as you pointed out, brother, then it's a Trump win. And if it breaks for Trump, it's a Trump landslide.
Right.
So it will be
that means that you can interpret from that then that the blue wall is going to follow the same way.
It's going to become a red wall.
Michigan, right? It's going to go back to being
pink wall,
right?
Right.
It's going to go back to for Trump, and we're talking landslide then, right? Because she's always Democrats are on defense. If it wasn't for the fake media, they'd be. And the fact that they have to gin it up like she's going to win, and it's so overwhelming because everybody supports her. Other than the lying that they constantly do, people will go, "Nah, she has a really hard path to win this. This is not easy for them." So good point, brother.
This is the other side of this. The one thing I would worry about in that statement I just made is this. New Hampshire will be decided before the polls are closed in the West. So we're looking at, if it is, those of you who are living out past the Mississippi, don't listen to it. If New Hampshire wins, go out and vote. Make sure you get the vote out. We don't want to lose Nevada. We don't want to lose Arizona. We want those to be victories because we need Kerry Lake, and we need the congressional seats that we can get.
Remember when we had an international following, brother? Before evil YouTube banned us for using. Remember, we were the Patriot, Sussex County Patriot, and people from Brazil and all over the place would text us and email us. Remember?
Yeah.
Now that we're talking the election again, we're going to have to change the name again.
Yeah.
Now we're going to have to be the Garbage Club or something like that.
That's a good name. That's a good name.
No, because our analysis last time got the Ballistic Patriot killed.
No,
we're suing. We got to sue YouTube. We'll see if we're going to do that or get around to it. Anyway.
More than likely, John. Hopefully, the monopolies will be broken up. Trump was going to force the ABC, NBC, CBS to pay a huge amount in order to get to the use of the airwaves. It should be something like that.
Right. So, ready for the Senate?
We're more than willing to take over any of those channels. We are beating the Matrix. Is more than willing to step up, brother.
Yeah, we should. We should take over CBS's channel. They suck.
Yeah. All right. So that's the Senate time. Yeah.
All right, for the Senate. Now, remember, you have to remember, this is the only time in history, thanks to paid-off scumbag Mitch McConnell, who's got $20 million from the Chinese communists, and nobody says anything about that. Like, that's not corruption. But he's agreed to have a minority, even though they have a majority because there's 49 of them, and there's only 48 Democrats. There's two idiots like Bernie Sanders who caucus with the Democrats or so-called independents should be forced to pick one or the other. And he should have just said, listen, I'm the majority because you only have 48. I got 49. So starting with that, though, it's going to be there was the problem for the Democrats is this. 6 years ago, they were riding a blue wave. And 6 years ago on the blue wave, they got people in solid Republican states to win as Democrats. So they're all up now. Their blue wave from 60 years ago is up now, and there's no way they're going to win in this election cycle because they're fighting against the trends of the actual state. 3 states in particular are the Republicans are going to pick up for at least a 51, maybe up to 55. I think we're calling 54 Senate pickup. So in Ohio, West Virginia, and Montana. So I think, West Virginia is emblematic. So you had Manchin, who was conservative to a degree and would vote for the Democrats, but was really, kept the Democrats in power.
He caucused as a Democrat.
Right. Well, he was he was a Democrat. He kept them in power. So he's not running this time because he knew there's no way he was going to win for Virginia. And so the governor of Virginia, the old governor, Jim Justice, is running in Virginia, West Virginia. So he's up like 34 points, right? So there's no way that the Democrats were going to hold on to that. And so he bailed. And that's the same thing that's going on in Ohio. Ohio used to be a bellwether state, but it's so red now that there's no way that Sherrod is going to be holding that Sherrod Brown's going to be holding that. So Bernie Moreno is going to win in Ohio, and so is for Montana. Tester is going to be is out, and they're going to Tim Sheehy is going to win. I think I got that backwards, but definitely those 3 states are going to be a pickup for the R's, and that gives the Senate, thank God, to the Republicans. Because even if Kamala wins, then there's a backstop, so they won't be able to pack the court. They won't be able to unless they flip another idiot, like Susan Collins or somebody. Unless they flip another idiot, the Republicans are going to be able to hold on the Senate. Most likely, though, they are going to be able to pick up for the Senate, Carrie Lake. And in Arizona,
Sheehy's the Republican in Montana. Tester's the Democrat.
Okay,
there's your numbers.
Tester. So they're gonna Sheehy. So they're gonna pick up Sheehy, right? So most likely though, I'm thinking they're gonna be able to pick up 2 more in Nevada, which is a close race, but the R is up now, and Arizona. Again, those are Sun Belt states on the West where the Hispanics are going to be voting in droves, and they're going to be voting for the R's because they've had it. And they're the ones most hurt by the open border policies of Kamala and the Democrats. So I have them picking up those 2 for a total of 53. And then there's a 4th one somewhere in here, which I think he's going to pick up. There's a 4th one and a 5th one. So in I think it's Michigan. Yeah, he's going to pick up that one too. I think that's a close race that they can pick up. The 5th one for the 55th vote. I mean, I would like to see Bob Casey finally get booted because he's a complete non-entity, and he's for baby murdering, which is a disgrace because his father was against baby murdering when he was governor. And yeah, as much as I don't like them, McCormick, he does have 6 daughters. I know he's from Connecticut. I know he was a freaking one of the guys selling out America with being a quote investment guy. I'm not a fan. We've been way better off with better candidates that are actually from Pennsylvania than
he was in his defense, John. He did grow up in Pennsylvania.
He grew up in Pennsylvania. He's a veteran. He's got 6 daughters. I voted for him. But they're, I think that they're better candidates, and I like, there's a particular girl, I'm not gonna bring her up, because it's, we want people to vote for McCormick right now. It's like we said in the beginning, if you're 70% for us, you're not against us, right? And that's what
I got the similar problem over here in New Jersey. We got a guy who's not Trump's pick, who is not he's not pro-life. He's said stuff that's not really good, but he's still a Republican. I mean,
right. And let's face it,
he's the guy who won the primary.
And let's face it, when it comes down to Bob Casey or McCormick, McCormick's going to vote for the Republican majority, right?
Yeah.
And then he's going to vote hopefully pro-life, right? And hopefully pro-gun. Right, whereas Bob Casey will vote against that every single time. He votes for Joe Biden 99.9% of the time.
Yeah.
So
Andy Kim will do the same thing over here in New Jersey. He's gonna take your gun. Andy Kim will take your gun. Yeah. So
all right, so the House
problem here.
So the Senate's definitely going for the Republicans. Because there's no way they're going to be able to the blue wall from 6 years ago is going to be able to stand. There's no way in those states it's going to stand. That's a wipeout. So at the very least, we're expecting a big win in the Senate, depending on the size of the landslide. It might be 53. I mean, we would want 55, but it might be 53. I think it's a solid 53. Okay, for the House. The House is a little bit more problematic. The House is mainly because it's got a different institutional problem. The institutional problem too is incumbency, and that's always in play in the House because it's corrupt. And if you have $20 million like Gottheimer, you can outspend your opponent, and nobody's looking at like why is this congressman who never did a job in his life worth $20 million? What?
Right.
Why isn't that called corruption? Should somebody look into that? Should somebody be in jail for that?
Yeah.
But
good luck.
So right now you need 218 for control. You got to keep that number in there for 218 for control. And now right now the Republicans have control, but like by 3. It's a dubious 3. So what are the numbers? Well, there are, depending on how you count it, 42 or 55 seats that are up in play. 42 to 55 that are like toss-ups depending on how close you are on it, right? So we have a solid 201, right? So the odds are that of that 55, the House is probably going to go R, right? The question is how far R, and that unfortunately I can't get into the numbers too well because they took it down. You have to put it on paywall now, and I can't get my numbers like I did last time. But that's good because it's one less thing that we can get in trouble for because I so accurately predicted it last time what the numbers were. And then in 2016, and then in 2020, I predicted why it was stolen because the numbers didn't match up. The down ballot votes didn't match up with the selection in the 2020 presidential election, right? So, but anyway, looking at it historically, I'll try another analysis.
Well, just so you know, Real Clear Politics has it 201 to 192 with 42 toss-ups.
Right, 42 toss-ups. Right. Like I said that was right. I got that right.
Yeah.
Right. Some other people are saying 55, and I would say there are about 55. It depends on the problem is incumbency and the corruption. Of having millions of dollars now, and you're not going to have. This could be not so much a coattail, election, because the House can be that way, but it can also be not that way. It's only really that way when it's like people don't know where the candidate is. If you have a long-term, candidate in that area, then they're going to probably win that area. So anyway, historically, right, in 2020, the Dems got 222, and the Republicans got 213. In 2022, the Republicans got 222 and the Dems got 213. They flipped it. So there's a good chance back in 2024, with the winds going the way they are, that it's going to go back at least 222, right? And that's over 218. It's where it basically is now, and the Republicans win, which is crucial because if the Republicans win all 3 branches, then Donald Trump can actually do what needs to be done: get rid of the freaking income tax, get rid of the goddamn federal government. And bring back America, put up tariffs, protect the American business, protect American manufacturing, American mining, American energy, and bring back the jobs to America to stop the death of the 100,000 middle class every year from fentanyl, right. and loneliness and depression from not being able to work. So 222 is a good bet, but. When I go break down the actual numbers, in New York, like there's like in New York and California, they learned something about harvesting that Dick Morris, the great Dick Morris, has said again and again. He said, listen, the reason why they won 2020 is because Democrats got a lot of their couch potatoes off the couch. At least they let them stay on the couch, and somebody went around and had them vote their ballot votes, and they took all those votes and turned them in. Well, Dick Morris points out, we Republicans, we got our own couch potatoes. Let's get them out. And so they've learned that lesson in California and in New York, and that's why those states won in 2016, 2020, 2022, and flipped the House back to R, because the Republican parties in California and New York actually won flipped those seats back and gave the majority to Republicans. Not that knucklehead Kevin McCarthy did anything with it. We still have Nancy Pelosi's budget till this day. It's outrage, but it flipped back. So at least historically, it looks like it could go back. If you're looking at it and just at the numbers, it should flip back to two. It should be another because the winds are his way. It's going to be a 222 R. But I look at it, and I look at it the internals, and when I'm looking at them, I'm thinking, you know what? 1980, Barack Obama, 1980, wants his politics back, and this is going to be a 1980s landslide. I'm thinking, I'll tell you why. Donald Trump has stolen the Democrat Party out from beneath the Democrats, right? And the white middle class, the black middle class, and working class, and the Hispanic middle class and working class are going to vote in large numbers for Donald Trump because he basically is a Democrat selling a Democrat message, and the idiot Democrat Party are now purely the party of Democrats. They want their religion is global warming nonsense, baby murdering, sacrifices, transgender nonsense now, gender, sex all the time, feminist, sourpuss, McCarthy, McShrew, feminism, and all the anti-God, anti-family, anti-male, anti-world, anti-woke nonsense, and they sell out America because they hate America. So all those people, they're probably not admitting that they're going to vote for Donald Trump, whether they're in the black community or not, because the black community is still moving our way. The Hispanic community is our way, and I've seen polls that have inverted, meaning before the Republicans were going to win maybe 30% of the Hispanic vote. Now it's the opposite. Now that the Republicans are going to win a majority, for over 50% of the Hispanic vote. That's the end of the Democratic Party. And like I said, for the black vote, if they were getting 93% and Trump pulls 20%, that's the end of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And so I say it's looking like it's 1980, and we're going to be winning a good solid plus 16. So my number for it when I do it is it's 1980 all over again, and it's 236. It's going to be a solid R for the Congress. And so then with such a smackdown, I'm praying to God every day that it's a smackdown. That praying that God's enemies. America is literally God's gift to the world, and it's there's nothing new under the sun. It's the same old bullshit everywhere out in the world, and all throughout history, except for the United States of America, when the world's been turned upside down, and there's nothing new under the sun except for the life of Jesus Christ and the political expression of that, which is the United States of America. I'm hoping that this is just like the 1980s. That all the evils came up. We saw what they are. We saw this transgender nonsense is for an evil. We saw the weaponization of the federal government as an evil. We saw the federal government surveillance state turned against the American people as an evil. Saw the big government who do nothing but lie, steal, and cheat, and pad their own wallets as an evil, and that we can get back to what America does best. And what does America does best? Elon Musk is what America does best. God, your life is nothing but a conversation with God. God's put these dreams in your heart. Your job is to have the faith to take the steps of faith to follow those dreams that He's put in your heart. as the great Calvin Coolidge has said, the business of America is business, because he killed the federal government and made it small, because it gave him, and he points up to heaven, God, more room to maneuver. It's not, quote, business and economics. It's not about greed. It's about freedom. Freedom, 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 freedom. Freedom. Economic freedom is physical freedom. And life freedom, and freedom is to follow your dreams. And because it's freedom, and God still needs America to save the world, and to spread the message of Jesus Christ and the message of freedom, that I'm hoping that this is going to be the wipeout, a 1980s style wipeout.
So what's your presidential prediction? What's the numbers
for states? Oh,
what's the electoral count?
326.
326. So
yeah,
you're going to all the swing states.
Right, all the states at issue, the 12 at issue, and a couple more. But it could be even more than that. It could be Reagan level.
Something like that. 330 with all that.
Yeah.
I am gonna play the pessimist, brother. I'm gonna play the pessimist. You ready?
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a tie. 269, 269.
And that could be perfect. Then it will go to Nebraska, right?
It goes to the Congress. It goes to the House.
Wait. 269. It goes to Nebraska.
No,
269. Right.
There's a possibility it could be 269, 269, and then it goes to the House, and then we see the way the numbers are right now in the House. It goes to Trump,
right?
Because the House doesn't vote by member, the House votes by state, so they would caucus individually, and there's more Republican controlled states than Democrat controlled states. So it would go.
I'm praying to God that does not happen. I'm praying to God that does not happen.
I do too, John. It needs to be a decision.
Now,
but it is a possibility because
we lose. He could lose too if New Hampshire, not New Hampshire, Nebraska, second, because it's the Democrats it's the blue wall plus the blue dot. They need the blue dot. And there's that one district where Charlie Kirk and company tried to do everything they can to get and the governor was on there, and there was one Republican or two Republicans. And when Charlie Kirk actually confronted him, I got to get this idiot's name. He said, well, we could lose the entire thing. This rhino said, well, that's not my problem. Exactly, you moron. And that's the problem. The Republican Party, they're just out for themselves. The rhinos were always been out for themselves.
But John, he was a Democrat. That guy you're talking about was
no.
Democrat.
That's the other guy. The other guy is doing it for that reason because he's in a swing district. This guy was the one vote they needed.
Democrat. He's a pro-life Democrat.
He's a bullcrap. Well, like Charlie Kirk said, he didn't blame that guy. He blamed the other idiot who said to him, "It's not my problem." And that's the heart of the rhinoism, right? It's all about them. It's all about themselves. That's the heart of the Jeb Bushes and the Bush Klan and the Wall Street Journal, the morons at the Wall Street Journal.
For all those who are being pissed off that I said 269, there's two reasons. First of all, we needed to discuss it because it is a possibility. Second of all, you're taking it, John and I hope that it goes the way that he discussed it and it's a landslide, but we've learned through our years, you never underestimate your enemy or their ability to manipulate the system. And so depending on what kind of safeguards the Republicans have put in place to protect the vote, it could go that way. It could be, as they say, too big to rig, or you never know. I mean, who knows what level? We could have 340 million people voting this election cycle, John, when we don't have more than 330 million people. I mean, that's the kind of thing that could happen.
I think that some factors are in play. We don't have the COVID to hide. They can't hide in the COVID. So there's a lot more light on it too. There's a lot more antibodies. Looking at it and listen, even the national polls are giving it like an even. Well, it's never been even for Trump. He's always been down 7 or 8 or 9
Yeah.
to Biden and Hillary. So now maybe maybe all of a sudden the polling, these left-wing nut job agencies, which are just nonsense to suppress the Republican vote anyway, have all of a sudden figured out the magic formula and are now successfully polling. Or it's complete bullshit. And what they're doing is they average their polls, right? One of the tricks that they do is they average their polls. So when Kamala first announced, everybody was so relieved they weren't going to have to vote for Biden. They were all pro Kamala until she started talking, right? So maybe they have that one poll there, and they take that and they average it in, or all the month that she was in, and then with the latest one, so that it looks like it's even. But if they say it's even, then I'm going to believe that I'm going to look at it traditionally and say, well, they've always been off 6, 7, 8, and 9 points. And if they're saying that these polls are even, then Trump's ahead 6, 7, or 8, or 9 points, and that means it's a wipeout, right? And so if you're going to look at it historically from the polling, the fact that they're wrong, you have to calculate in their error, their error rate, what the old man would call their error rate, and their error rate over the last several polls, which indicate that if they're saying it's even now, it's a wipeout for Trump because they've been wrong the last cycles. So
here you go. There's what you're talking about right there. It's from 2016 to 2024. You can see the differences in the change. So you're right. Either it's completely, if they're under doing the undervote if they're still doing the same process that they did in 2016 and 2020. Then Trump is winning by a landslide.
Right.
But
because he's barely up, and I'm
never been up.
I'm tired. Look, listen. Every time I go to the grocery store and I have to pay $4 for freaking, for 12 eggs, I'm going, what the freaking hell? Every time I go in, I get sticker shock for everything I see. It's ridiculous, and it's all thanks to these nitwits. And when we get to it, about the Tucker comment.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we should move on to that. So
is that the end?
So, what's
is that? Our next? Is that the end of our election analysis, or are we going to?
Yeah, it's the end of the next election analysis. Here is Tucker Carlson and at Madison Square Garden. That's the one you want to start with, right, brother?
Yeah.
Here we go. By the way, this is the Madison Square Garden where they claimed it was the Nazis and
man, it's all evil, toxic man.
Yeah, and even though Hillary, Bill Clinton, JFK, and a bunch of other Democrats have had their rallies at this same building in the same spot, along with the supposed one that they decided to link back, they had to go back 80 years for. Here you go, Tucker Carlson.
The Nord Stream pipeline, no, honestly, he did.
I brought it back just a little bit because but now we're having technical issues. Hold on, let me see if I can fix this.
I'll just fill the time. Ding 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 ding, elevator music. Ding 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 ding. Dun, 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 dun. I think that should be our theme song. Sanford song.
Very insurrection-y. Not even the obvious ones, but the big lie. You know what the big lie is? The big lie is that they're impressive. That's what the big lie is. That the people in charge have somehow earned the right to rule over you, and they haven't. And you know that. These are the single most useless people in the United States. They have no skills whatsoever. They've got 3/4 of the money, and they didn't earn it. They set up a system precisely for the purpose of awarding themselves wealth and power when it's undeserved. You look at Liz Cheney and you ask yourself honestly, what skill could she possibly have that allowed her to send hundreds of thousands of people to their deaths? Did she earn that? I don't think she did. No fair system would make Liz Cheney powerful. No fair system would make Larry Fink rich. No fair system would elevate someone like Kamala Harris to a presidential nomination. She's never been accused of doing anything useful. She has precisely no achievements. She's a nominee without getting a single vote. She is a metaphor for the system they created to make themselves rich and powerful. And then they have the gall to lecture you, the people who can actually change a flat tire and repair a power grid, who have useful jobs, who pay your taxes and work 40 hours a week, lecture you that you are somehow immoral. And Donald Trump has empowered the rest of us through mostly just sticking around in the face of their hate and abuse and persecution. He has given the rest of us the right to call BS on the charade. No, you are not better than us. No, you are not smarter than us. No, you do not deserve what you have. You probably stole it. No, you're not going to bully me into silence anymore. And I can promise you at this point, 9 days out, when Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Elon Musk and Tulsi Gabbard and pretty much every high school senior and college shorty girl in the country has come out finally say, yeah, I am for Donald Trump, actually. When the entire country has realized there is nothing embarrassing about this, what's embarrassing is to take a perfectly great country and destroy it, as they have. I'm not ashamed. You should be. At that moment, it's going to be pretty tough for them 10 days from now to look in the eye to America with a straight face. It's going to be pretty hard to look at us and say, you know what? Kamala Harris, she got 85 million votes because she's just so impressive. As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former California prosecutor ever to be elected president, it was just a groundswell of popular support. And anyone who thinks otherwise is just a freak or a criminal. At this stage of the game, after 9 years of listening to their lies and finding every single one of them totally false, no, it's not safe and effective, and no, she's not impressive. It's very hard for me to believe the rest of us are going to say, you know what, Joe Scarborough, you're right. You're right. She won fair and square because she's just so impressive. I don't think so. And to me, that is liberation. It's the freedom to say what's obviously true as a free man and not a slave. And I just want to say thank you, Donald Trump, for that.
Wow, brother.
That's the heir to the MAGA throne, brother.
I know. I was going to say. You know what the most impressive thing about that whole thing was? I mean,
that's nailed it.
Impressive. Well, what he said was very impressive, but the way he said it, he didn't use a teleprompter at all. That came from here. That came from in here.
Well, and his observations. He's a real journalist and a truth seeker. He's actually was looking around to see it.
It came
he's
from
so
inside.
right. He's so right. They've set up a system that gives them all the rewards, and they don't deserve it, right? And the money. You look at the freaking so-called, venture capitalists, right? Yeah, freaking idiot like McCormick, who sold this country out because they get a tax rate of 60%, where the regular corporate tax rate was like 28%, right? So these vultures get in there, like Warren Buffett and company, and vulturize these companies. That wasn't, the corporate shield wasn't meant for these vultures, and this definitely wasn't meant to encourage these vultures. The corporate shield would mean that you can get capital together, your family, we can get our money together, put it in a pot, somebody can start a business, whether it's a hot dog stand or whatever, or a new software company or whatever. And then if something goes bad with it, somebody dies from the hot dogs or whatever, then we're all at least shielded from that by the corporate structure, because that guy, whoever's running it is trying to do his best job, but there's got to be a shield to it. So that allows this amazing American system. There's a great the guy in charge of the bank in Europe, in Norway, make this point, is the best money to put is into America. The reason why is because America gives you a second chance to fail, right? And they're innovative. The rest of the world, you don't have that. You have innovation and you have a chance to fail in America. In Europe, if you fail, you're done. First of all, you don't own anything anyway, but you're done if you fail, right? That's why that's one of the secrets to America. Well, he's absolutely right. They've set this these asses, these fake elites who don't deserve it, have set them up to get the power and the prestige. It's exactly what they are, and they are destroying they're ruining the country. They're destroying the goose that's laid the golden egg. Right now, America is never meant to be an aristocracy. Right? And you can say, oh, look, the founding fathers, they were aristocratic in their methods. No, they earned their spots, and they all knew that. Listen, we can't have an aristocracy. If we have an aristocracy, you have a permanent aristocracy. You'll never have the people from the merit rise up on the basis of the merit and how hard they work, and their character. It's the exact opposite of America, and it's been the exact opposite of America for the last 60 years as they sold us out. The idea that the Bushes are better than us, the idea that the Bushes are so much smarter than us, the idea that Obama, this rich spoiled bitch from all these Ivy League schools, is somehow smarter than all of us and should be telling us how to live our lives. No, they're a bunch of morons. And he really, 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 really nailed it again and again and again. They don't. Not only do they, but he also nails that their arrogance. This is Rasmussen and Newt has been running around talking about this tiny percentage of this 3% that's not only do they think that they're smarter than all the rest of us, not only do they think that they should rule over us, they think it's their mandate from whatever god they worship to rule over us and lord it all us, to tell us whether we're going to have light bulb, what type of light bulbs we're going to have, whether we're going to have gas stoves or not.
Johnny,
who the hell are these
you know who they're like? You know who they're like? They're very much like that's how the Communist Party runs China. It's the 3% that run really the rest of the country. It's not the people that are the communists. It's the leadership that is the communist. They're the dictators. That's what it comes down to. Same with the old Soviet Union. That's the way it was.
Files. We used to call them the dicto files.
We called them,
the love of dictatorship. But DICT, the old Latin, right? For the authority, and they want to lord it over all of us. And now I say America is God's gift to the world, right? These people coming in here, it's Elon Musk. Elon Musk, comes in here from South Africa. South Africa, you had the British aristocracy, you had the Boer aristocracy. I mean, the Boers were probably the least of it. And you had some chances to work your way up to the top, but you had the British aristocracy ruling it, colonialism. You had the black the different tribes. You had to work your way up in the tribe, whatever. You don't have freedom there. There's no freedom in South Africa. Comes over to America. This is the place of freedom, right? And that's what all the people coming here. There's the people that are here illegally, who want to just get on the welfare. Go get another job, undercut somebody's job, take all that money and send it home so they can go home and then go build whatever they want to do back home. They're not Americans. They should be cut off all the money, sending all of them out, let them leave, right? The people who want to come here because they know how evil their countries are and how evil it is, because they're all living in some form of dictatorship or a big mafioso, a big mafia, big mahaf ruling their countries, whether it's Putin or whatever, or Maduro, wherever. Those people who want to come here for the freedom, they're Americans, because they get it. And in a lot of ways, they get it more than the commie mommy idiots who are voting for Kamala right now, right? They get it because they get for the freedom. What is America? Elon Musk is America. He goes, I know what we can do. We need a big effing rocket, because we got to go to Mars. And I know what we're going to do. We're going to make it a reusable, right? And with 500 engineers versus 50,000 in 20 years, he's got one, and he's doing it. He's actually catching the rocket out of the sky, and he is 10 years ahead of everybody else. So the Europeans going, we can't keep up with the Americans. We can't keep up with Americans. That's America. That's exactly right, because that's freedom, and you can't stop freedom. And you got to get the hell out of Elon's way. You got to get the hell out of the American people's way. And to do that, you got to kill the evil government tying us down. Yeah. And that's why Donald Trump is that. And that's why after it's not going to be Donald Trump, it's going to be the Avengers, the team that he's got. Tulsi, Elon, and company, and also the next generation that's going to put to death these creeps who want to tell us all how to live our lives, and you're not allowed to say anything. That's not America. Bullshit. Yeah. It's a free country. I'll say what I want when I want.
Side
Screw
note,
you.
brother.
Huh?
Side note: Elon Musk is going. He's starting rocket launches to Mars, 2026. In 2 years. Yeah.
He's got a factory where he's already building 100 rockets a year. His goal is to make 1,000. He's going to need like 1,000 rockets, and he's there. Nobody thought. I mean, it's unbelievable. He's in this last year. He's launched 5. He's on his 5th one this year. NASA had a plan to do 5 in 20 years. They take some 20 years. So far, they've launched 1. He's launched 5 this year. He's launched 5 this year, and he caught 1 this year already.
He's planning on launching these uncrewed Starship missions to Mars, and if they are successful, then he'll have crewed missions within 4 years. So within 4 years of now, so by 2028, the next presidential run, humans will be landing on Mars. So we'll have a conflict between who's running for election. The election will be a big deal, but so will Elon Musk. So,
well, where is that American innovation? Why is it gone? It's gone because these creeps have killed it with regulation. These creeps have killed it with taxes.
Well, you're 100%
these creeps have killed it again and again and again, and they need to go. What we should do is, okay, we're going to let all the illegals in. We're going to let them in. And for every one we let in, we kick out 2 people who work for the government or who voted for Kamala.
Or just get rid of the income tax, John. Just get rid of the income tax, and
which is what Trump wants to do.
I do think there's something's been floated. I don't know if you were talking to me about it, but we should move leave the White House, the Congress, the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., and move the FBI.
Ship everything out. Kill it. Get rid of the FBI. You don't need the FBI.
The alphabet. I'm talking about the alphabet. The alphabet moving not to one location, by the way, but spread them around the entire country. You have like one in Washington and Washington State, another in Virginia, Florida. You move that. Instead of having one centralized location, decentralize it, because it's 50 states. It's not one. It's 50 states, and it should be spread out. And that incestuous relationship between government and the political institutions, it's destroying our country. That's why the FBI had a stroke, and that's why you see people who are in the news married to people who are working for the FBI and the CIA. It's because this incestuous relationship because they're all in the same space. So get them the hell out of Washington. Get them so that they no longer have this, readily available pool of marriage partners to hook up with. Get them someplace in real America, where in real America they're forced to integrate with the people instead of in their 3% hierarchy that they have down in Washington, D.C. And by the way, Washington, D.C. is the most expensive place to live, and it's got the most wealth because it's the head of the federal government. Well, again, that's another argument for us to disperse the federal government around the entire country and start cutting it in half. What do you really need? What do you really need, John? You don't need the giant bureaucracy.
Kill it. You don't need the EPA. You have 50 other EPAs. Each state has an EPA. Get rid of it. You don't need the ATF. It's an illegal operation. It's unconstitutional to begin with. You don't need the FBI. It's not in the Constitution.
Alcohol is legal. Tobacco is legal. And firearms are legal.
Why do we need
the ATF?
Get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Why do we have it?
Get rid of it all. Get rid of it all, because as Calvin Coolidge said, one of our greatest presidents, it gives him more room to maneuver, right? And that means the American people have more room to maneuver. That means more innovation. That means more success. That means more problems solved. Okay, if you really cared about solving problems and your fellow mankind, then you would get the hell out of the American people's way.
No.
And you would
you really cared.
Stop
they don't,
trying to put your thumb down on them.
We
got
one last thing to talk about. This is the supersized issue of of the Beating the Matrix. the election supersized, John. That's what we are. The
All right.
supersized episode of Beating the Matrix for the election. All right. So the last thing that we have is the big turmoil over again Liz Cheney getting labeled or being told Trump accusing her, saying she should be in front of a firing squad. Complete fabrication. Since we believe in the truth here at Beating the Matrix, we have gone to the very hard trouble of actually finding the original video because it's been so blacklisted and so dumped down the memory hole. So it hides the truth that we had to go all the way to Hindustan Times, John, in order to get the actual video. So here is the excerpt from the full-length video of Trump being interviewed by Tucker Carlson, which we're going to have a technical issue, I can see. All right, hold on. Let's see. Phil, sing, John, sing.
Do 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 do.
I think the Chinese are doing something. Okay, I think we got it.
So he said, I really want to thank you. He said, now I'm so glad that I actually endorsed you. It's
that wasn't it.
Amazing, but that you would do this. And I didn't speak to him about it. But then, go a couple of years forward or go now. And I don't blame him for sticking with his daughter. But his daughter is a very dumb individual, very dumb. She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. When the guns are trained on her face.
Wait, yeah, you heard he said, let's put her with a rifle. Like she's supposed to have a rifle.
Right. So if it was a firing squad, then he wouldn't be a rifle. It would be
firing squads don't give rifles to the person who's shooting.
So he meant he meant that the warmonger, Dick Cheney, he was telling the long story to how he was one good relations with Dick Cheney. And then Dick Cheney, because he pardoned Scooter Libby, and Bush didn't have the guts to pardon Scooter Libby. Scooter Libby was part of the lawfare that they did against the Bushes. And the Bush administration to put Scooter Libby in jail. He served jail time because he was charged for leaking information he didn't leak. That was leaked by Colin Powell's number 2, and had nothing. And Scooter Libby was just repeating what everybody else was saying. So he went to jail for that. It was one of the first cases of lawfare used against a Republican, and he wound up. Dick Cheney was mad at Bush because he wouldn't pardon him, and Trump pardoned him because it was the right thing to do, because he's a man of character and does the right thing to do. And then Dick Cheney called him up, and they had a good relationship, but he understood that he was going to stand with, Liz's daughter, Liz Cheney, how dumb she is. But he makes a point, is as Tucker said, this moron is once it gets us into, if Liz Cheney and company get their way, the neocons get their way, we'll be in war. We'll be in 7 places, throughout the world. Let her go fight the war. If these people, as part of the divorce from the aristocrat class and the American system, it was never that way. Roosevelt's died in combat. Teddy Roosevelt's kid died in combat.
Yeah. Anyway, here's the rest of what Trump said. I shouldn't have stopped it. Sure.
All right. Well, if you have anything more, because I'm done with that, and I was going to do it's your clip. Do you have anything to say about it?
Here.
Feels about it. When the guns are trained on her face. They're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, "Oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy." But she's a stupid person. And I used to have meetings with a lot of people.
So I did want to add something to that. one of the things I wanted to add was you have people on the left who are even coming out and slamming their party for doing this. You got Bill Maher, who's saying, I mean, not that I like Bill Maher, or I think Bill Maher's some oracle, but even he thinks that this is stupid to do. It's just like it's the same thing with the Nazis when they were saying that he was harking back to the Nazi thing in 1930s. It's the same thing. Even Chunk Yogurt is saying that this is wrong. When Chunk Yogurt goes against the left, then you know that they're wrong. For sure, guaranteed. Chunk Yogurt always sides with the left. And again, it's another sign. It's like CNN disagreeing with something. It's just so that that's how bad it is. Like Snopes finally agreeing that Charlottesville, that Trump didn't say that there were Nazis that were good people there. So that's all I really wanted to say about this, because this is just another example of the billion-dollar industry once again trying to corrupt the media. Another reason why those organizations need to be deplatformed from the free airwaves and forced onto the cable, because they've now become cable institutions where they can lie and do whatever they want, like CNN does. But they shouldn't have access to public airways. Shut the airways down. I don't care, but they should not have.
Make it free for all. Why should anybody have that airways?
Yeah.
Why do they get a monopoly for 95 years?
Exactly. Get them off. So that's what I had to say about it, brother. So you got the AI?
I got I changed the name of it. It's no longer the Ballistic Patriot AI. It's now the Beating the Matrix AI. But so I got to ask it the question.
BTM AI.
Right.
Batma.
So will Donald Trump win the election in 2024? And the answer is, it's certain. According to the AI.
Bima.
The AI said it was certain. So you can take that to the bank. There's no way we're going to lose. Our AI says it's going to happen.
Your 8-ball looks a little blue, brother.
My 8-ball definitely, and my ball is definitely blue. I can't read it though. It's so blue I can't read it.
What's your question?
I didn't ask it one yet, but I want to see what the answer is first. All right.
So who's gonna take the Senate?
Oh,
do the Republicans win the Senate?
Don't count on it. I don't know about that one.
I don't know.
Wait.
What about the House? Do the Republicans take the House?
Bet on it.
Bet on it. There you go, brother. All right.
So,
all right.
The AI might be right 2 out of 3 times.
Do you got any other questions you want to ask?
Am I going to die a lonely man? You may rely on it. God damn it.
Oh, that's so mean. That's so mean.
It is definitely mean. Yes, definitely. Now it's mocking me. Freaking damn thing.
What do you expect, John? It was bought on a budget. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of that. You don't have anything else you want to add, do you? Right?
No.
No, that is the fully expanded election edition of the Beating the Matrix. We have almost 2 hours of a show for you to watch and reflect on, and for them to use for evidence in our trial.
Yeah.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you exit the stage left, and please make sure that you vote on Tuesday. You're voting for Donald J. Trump and the Republican of your district. That is the orders from up high to vote that way. And remember, brother, no matter what, it's all good.
Because God loves you.
Because God loves you. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. Take care. Make sure you check out our page, Ballistic Patriot, or BeatingTheMatrix.com.
4 years ago, we took a wrong turn and lost our purpose. We lost the strength that makes Americans who we are. If we dared to speak the truth, it was called hate speech, and our values were labeled shameful. That's when everything we care about fell apart. We surrendered our borders, our paychecks, and our courage. Our patriotism was called toxic. Men could beat up women and win medals, but there was no prize for the guy who got up every day to do his job. Now we're being asked to settle for the way things are. And we're wondering if America can make a comeback. We can, because we've done it before. When we get knocked down, we don't stay down. We get up again. We fight. We fight. We fight.